Okay, welcome. It is our first day of the 7-day hydration challenge based on the WildFit core principles. And before we get into the challenge, I just want to share with you a little bit of my backstory as a coach and why I'm doing WildFit coaching. Last year, I took the WildFit 90-day challenge, and I saw some really incredible results around some chronic health issues that I had had for many, many years. And so I knew that I was on to something with the work that WildFit was doing for my health and for my well-being. And as I went through the program, I saw other people having really amazing results as well. And then I met Eric last fall in August. And it was an incredible time where a bunch of us WildFitters had come together for dinner, and Eric came and he talked with us, and the intention that he has around helping people take care of their health and using these really core principles around how we evolved as a species to really enable us to gain health through our diet, through the human diet, which is the way that we should have been eating all along. But the diet industry and the health industry and the food industry have all sort of manipulated our thoughts around how we should be eating, and want to market to us all kinds of supplements and packaged foods and all of those things that really aren't great for us. And so his goal of really shaking up the health industry and the diet industry had profound impact on me, and I wanted to become a coach because of what it was doing for other people. And that led to my WildFit clients, who I saw started having results right away through some of these core foundational principles, such as hydration. And so I'm bringing to you some of these core principles so that you can get a taste of WildFit yourself. And whether or not you decide to go forward with the challenge after this month of our 4 weekly challenges, you'll still have some really core principles that will help you in your health journey as well. So with that, I'm going to start the slide presentation so that you will get a sense of where we're going. So for the next 4 weeks, let's see. I'm learning how to use the slide presentation here, so bear with me. For the next 4 weeks, we're going to be covering hydration, which is this week, and we'll have 3 calls this week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to help you, learn some of these techniques and strategies for staying hydrated, talk to you about why it's so important. And then next week, we will go into breathing and the effects breathing can have on the body. And then in week 3, we're going to talk about awareness and get into some of the behavioral psychology around our food choices and helping you to transform your relationship with food. And then we're going to get into nutrition in week 4, and we've got some great recipes and ideas to help you with your nutritional habits as well. So week 1, hydration. Our bodies are made of water. We are water. I mean, if you look, you'll begin to see how important water can be when we are chronically dehydrated. We are really starving our blood, our brain, our liver, our lungs, our skin, our joints, and our bones of the water that is needed to help continue to manufacture healthy cells. Water is life. It's so connected with who we are as humans and our time on this planet. If we don't have water, we don't live very long. We can go without a lot of things. We can go without food for quite a long time. But there are a couple of fundamental things we can't go without. One is water, and the other is breathing. And those are just two core things that really impact our health. And most people aren't aware of themselves and their chronic dehydration. And so one of the problems that chronic dehydration causes is this unfulfilled hunger. We tend to get excessive cravings when we are not drinking enough water, because we used to find our water through food sources. And so it's a natural inclination for our bodies to reach for food, except that most of the food that we tend to eat these days is packaged and quite dry. And so it can lead to excessive cravings and excessive snacking. As well, because 90% of our lungs are made of water. We get a lot of allergies and asthma issues when we have chronic dehydration. Digestive problems can really creep up, constipation and IBS and other issues that come along with not having the right source of hydration. Water is essential. Adding in other types of hydration, replacing what our body needs with these other alternatives, the sweetened beverages, coffee, alcohol, that sort of thing can really deplete us of the core, 6 to 8 glasses of water that we need per day. And then additionally, fatigue. Our body is an electrical system, and water is the conductor. And so, it can really lead to fatigue and irritability and mental fog and even depression. I will speak to this more as I share my own recovery story, but proper hydration was really key to my recovery and to my mental well-being. It was quite an incredible thing. So we've got to get our water. And why don't we get enough water? Well, one of the reasons that we may not be fully hydrated is that we don't make water a priority for self-care. And because of that, we have to really look at what self-care is and why it's important. If you put yourself last, if you don't plan to hydrate and take care of yourself, if you're disorganized, you're going to set yourself up for some pretty hard days. And over time, the changes may be incremental, but eventually it can lead to some pretty debilitating issues. And so by putting yourself first, they talk about on the plane, put your own oxygen mask on first and then put it on, your companion, your child or your family or whatever. And if you look at water in the same way, we've got to water ourselves first before we can take care of the rest of our responsibilities, our loved ones, and the people around us and the work that we do in the world. So hydration is really, really critical. It leads to muscle fuel and clearer skin. It increases our productivity. It significantly helps us remove toxins, and we'll get into that more in day 2. It helps us with our joints. It boosts our brain. It's so essential to our brain function. It helps with calorie control through that reduction of cravings that I talked about. It helps balance our blood. It lifts our energy, and it balances our whole body out in terms of the hydration that it needs. So one of the core ideas around the WildFit Challenge is addressing the 6 human hungers. And the first hunger that we like to address is the thirst hunger. It's a funny thing, you know, when we were evolving as humans in our early days, you know, hundreds of thousands of years ago, we didn't carry water in water bottles. We got our water mainly through our food sources, through fruits and vegetables that were growing around us in that sort of hunter-gatherer mode. And so when we needed to drink, when our body needed hydration, it would turn on the hunger switch. And that inclination still exists today. And because of that, the hunger that you have can, one of the sources is that your body may be craving water. And so by addressing hydration, you start to turn that switch of hunger off, so that you can understand where you may be having other hungers creep up. There are other hungers that we'll get into throughout this challenge, but the core one that we're addressing this week is thirst hunger. So by drinking more water, we're allowing ourselves to turn off that thirst switch. And you'll notice this as you start to drink more water. It's quite an interesting process that I really didn't expect when I first started properly hydrating myself. You know, and last year, I had such a struggle because I came to Nicaragua on a sabbatical, and we lived out in the country quite far from the city. And so we were getting our water through bottled water. And unfortunately, a lot of the bottled water that exists in the world has very low requirements for regulation, for checking on contaminants, and as well, the bottled water comes in plastic jugs that can leach off chemicals in the sun, where a lot of the water is stored outdoors in sunlight. As the plastic heats up, it releases and off gases chemicals. So bottled water is not the most ideal source of water. And for me, I found that it contained a lot of contaminants and hormone disruptors because the water quality here is pretty poor. There's definitely a need throughout the world to address clean water and you know, addressing our watershed and keeping garbage out of our watershed, because it all goes into the water table, and then the water gets pumped out of the aquifers and into these plastic bottles. It's not filtered very well, and then you know, it can leach. And so I had some significant issues around hormone disruption and things that were happening for me last year because I was drinking this you know, this water from these blue jugs. And what we learned is that the best sources of water for most people in developed nations is the tap water. Municipalities have to go through a lot of water testing, and they have to report that publicly. And so you can actually go on your city's website, and or if you live in the country, your county or your department's website, and look up the water department and look for the water quality report that's available there to see you know, how good the water is. And generally it's going to be filtered and cleaned before it comes to you through your tap. Additionally, the water that comes from your aquifer has gone through the earth and has acquired all kinds of minerals that are really, really key and are not generally included in the big bottled water that you tend to get. Usually that water is it has gone through reverse osmosis where everything is taken out and nothing is included anymore, and it's pretty much dead water. So by getting your water from an aquifer through the tap, you're able to get the minerals that are also needed for your body as well. You know, like I said, our body is an electric system. It's also a chemical system, and we need both the hydration and the minerals to properly store water in our cells. So check your local water supply. Try to get off the bottled water if you can. And, you know, for an additional measure, if you can find a ceramic filter to filter your tap water, that can provide additional minerals as well and really energize that water for you. You know, the best water is, you know, natural spring water, but that's pretty hard to come by. Most of it is contaminated or can contain bacteria from the animals that are nearby. So it's important that it does get filtered, and a ceramic filter can really do an amazing job of taking out the pathogens and the contaminants, but keeping in those minerals that your body really needs. And then 6 to 8 glasses of spring water or ceramic filtered water a day is ideal. This is really key. This is our homework for each day. We want to make sure that we are getting 6 to 8 glasses of the best water that we possibly can each day this week. And so the way that we're going to do that is by you know, looking at the quality of our water, where it comes from, what you're currently getting, and if you need to shift that up and change it, possibly you need to get a filter, or just check that your tap water is adequate. In a lot of places, it really is. And then, you know, start drinking your 6 to 8 glasses a day. The ideal way to drink water is to sip it constantly throughout the day. So the best way to do that is to have a glass or steel water bottle with you at all times. If you do that, if it's always nearby and accessible, it'll help you to remember that you need to be drinking water. And if you're currently getting some of your hydration through teas or sweetened beverages or soda, this is really the challenge part, and that is to sort of replace those other kinds of ways that you thought you were hydrating yourself with actual water. And for some, that may be difficult because water can be a new taste for people that don't drink it regularly. And so, you know, we want to say, look, if you need to add cucumber or lemon or lime, or you could use an edible essential oil, that, you know, good quality essential oil for flavoring, you know, a couple drops, not a lot, but something fresh. Either those citruses or cucumber is really anti-inflammatory, so it can actually do really incredible things for your digestive system as well. If that helps you to drink more water, then go for it. The more you're getting more of a direct source of water and less of those fake water alternatives that aren't really water, you know, soda and tea and those kinds of things, the more hydrated you're going to feel at the end of the day. And the best way that you can track your water intake is either to have a tally sheet, so that every time you drink a glass of water, you mark it off. And you can either, you know, if you use a day planner, you can keep track of it in your day planner. If you drink cold water, you can put it on a sticky note on your refrigerator and just keep track of every time you fill your water bottle. If you're using a typical water bottle, a good sized water bottle, is about 800 milliliters. So you'll think about drinking a good measure is 3 of those at least a day. If you drink 4, you're really doing yourself well. So those are some ways that you can really create some accountability for yourself. Another way is to get a water app. You can get a water app that gives you like hourly notifications, and actually, as you drink a sip or a gulp, can track how much water you're drinking throughout the day as well. So you can do it digitally if you need to. However you need to do it to create accountability for yourself is key, because the more you're hydrating yourself this week, the more you're going to see those results that we talked about in the earlier slides. So I want to keep this short and sweet, and just to let you know that on Wednesday, we'll have the same call at 2 o'clock Central Time. And with that call, we're going to actually go deeper into how hydration releases toxins and fat. It's a pretty interesting discussion, and I look forward to going more into that with you on Wednesday. So I want to just check in and see if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments that we'll post the link to this particular call. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And I'll post some links to some of the recommended apps and filtration systems that are out there as well. These are all optional. I think you're going to be doing your body such a service by ensuring that you're getting the 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, and looking at the water quality source that you have and how you can improve that. So that's all for now, and look forward to chatting with you on Wednesday. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.